Verse 10 says, while we were what? Enemies. That's something, isn't it? Look at what Paul talks about. If there is a righteous man, if there is a good man, and if there is a dearly beloved man, maybe another good man will die for him, peradventure. It doesn't happen that much. But while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us, not when we were friends. Man dying for the enemies? That is the depth of love. While we were enemies, Christ reconciled us to God by his death. While Adam and Eve had flagrantly violated the commandment of God, that's when he came forward to help them. Let me take you back to the garden. And let us see the flagrant violation of God's explicit commandment in what they did. When Eve ate the fruit, the forbidden fruit, was she hungry? She was not. How do you know? If she were hungry, there were all kinds of trees right round about. She didn't have to walk over such a distance in order to find the fruit. It is like you're going home, you are hungry, there is a bunch of bananas on the table. You wouldn't think of getting in your car, driving 3 miles to get a bunch of bananas, would you? If you are hungry, right there on the table you have the bananas. If you crave for something else, you would. Both Adam and Eve were not hungry when they ate the fruit. And then, I believe the Garden of Eden was so huge because if the Father loves them to such an extent, he gave them a huge garden. And he said, in the midst of the garden is the forbidden tree. In other words, temptation was far removed. Eve had to walk into it, invite temptation. As if that's not enough. When Eve was holding conversation with the devil, she overstated. The overstatement is found in Genesis. Let's go back to Genesis 3. Verse 3, Genesis 3, verse 3, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it. True or false? Huh? Talk to me. True or false? True. But, continue. Neither shall ye touch it, lest he die. True or false? False. God did not say, you shall not touch it. God did say, you shall not eat it. Here is the overstatement. This was the one that the devil got her in his grip. I said, oh, wait a minute. You see? He plucked the fruit and held it out to her and said, I touched it. I'm holding it. I am not dead. But let me tell you more. I can speak, although I'm a serpent, because I have eaten it. You see, step by step, little at a time. That's how temptation kind of takes you into the trap. She made the overstatement, and that became the death trap to the woman. The devil caught her where she had lied. There is a lesson for us to learn there, right there. What you say ought to be to the point and none to the excess. And then, number 4, Adam and Eve had been warned, correct? They had been warned. God was with them morning and evening, and the angels were with them communicating and teaching. You see, if God did not tell them about what is going to happen if they ate, God is at fault, not Adam and Eve. They could tell God, you didn't tell us. So they had been warned. And right in front of Eve, the devil was accusing God. See, God, such a God, he doesn't want you to get better and look like God and act like God and be like God. And that's the God that you serve. And the devil was pointing a finger at God while the woman stood there listening. And she should have been frightened and run out, listening to a strange voice that she had never heard, a strange creature that she had never seen, a talking creature, I mean. Nothing startled against such 5 charges worthy of death. But while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. You see, the devil was not silent all the time. After his fall, after the worlds had been formed, Ellen White says he was going from planet to planet trying to tempt people and get them on his side. If he could get anyone on his side, then he has a partner in crime. It is like, you see, a Chinese proverb says, my enemy is my friend. My enemy, he is his enemy. Then if I partner with him, then we are together against one. And now the devil got a partner on this earth, Adam and Eve. They were together. The purpose was dethrone God, abolish the law. And you know, in order to bring man's salvation, the first step that God had to take is in Genesis 3:15, which says, Genesis 3:15, I will put what? Enmity. You both are friends now. Unless I bring enmity or put enmity between you two, I cannot do good to you. I cannot save you, Adam. I cannot. I will put enmity between you two. He had to accomplish that. It was not easy. There were so many problems, complicating problems that God had to overcome in order to save man. And that's where you see his love. So, John 1, 1 John. You remember that? In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was what? God. And the Word was with God. And if you slip over to John, I'm talking about 1 John, I'm sorry. Do you have it?